Right now, your mind is under attack. Every notification, every criticism, every setback is testing whether you'll break or build. Most people spend their entire lives reacting, controlled by emotions they never learned to master. But in the next 90 days, you're going to do something different. You're going to build a mental fortress so strong that nothing and no one can penetrate it. This isn't theory. This isn't motivation. This is the exact daily system that separates the mentally weak from the emotionally bulletproof. Your transformation starts now. Your mind is under siege right now. Every single day, every single hour, and most of you are losing, not because you're weak, not because you lack talent, not because you didn't get the right opportunities. You're losing because your mind collapses under pressure. That's the brutal truth. Let's start here. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. There's no middle ground. It's binary. It's either building you up or tearing you down. It's either a fortress that protects you or a prison that destroys you, and for most people, it's the enemy. Think about the last time someone criticized you. What happened? Did you spiral for hours? Days? Did you replay that conversation in your head 50 times? Did you lose sleep? Did you let that one comment dictate your entire emotional state? That's mental weakness. Think about the last time something didn't go your way. A rejection. A failure. A setback. Did you crumble? Did you question everything? Did you let that one moment define your entire trajectory? That's mental weakness. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. And right now, if you're honest with yourself, you know which one it is? Here's what most people don't understand. Talent doesn't matter if your mind is fragile. Opportunity doesn't matter if you can't handle pressure. Potential means absolutely nothing if you break at the first sign of resistance. You've seen it. The talented person who quit after one rejection. The smart person who avoided every challenge because they couldn't handle failure. The capable person whose life fell apart because someone said something mean on the internet. Mental fragility destroys everything before it even begins. That's the pattern. But here's the other side. You've also seen the person who had no business succeeding. They weren't the most talented. They weren't the most connected. They weren't the most educated, but they were unbreakable. They got rejected 100 times and showed up for attempt 101. They failed publicly and didn't flinch. They faced criticism, pressure, and chaos. And their mind didn't collapse. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. They chose weapon. You've been choosing enemy. Until today. Let me give you an analogy that will frame the next 90 days of your life. Imagine a house of cards. Impressive, right? Tall, intricate, looks strong from a distance. But one breath of wind, one slight movement, it collapses instantly, completely. Now imagine a fortress. Stone by stone, brick by brick, built deliberately, built slowly, built to withstand siege, storm, and attack. It doesn't look impressive on day one. It looks like a pile of rocks. But every single day another stone is placed. Another layer is added, and after enough time, it's impenetrable. Your mind right now is the house of cards. It looks functional. You've made it this far. But deep down, you know the truth. One strong wind and you collapse. The next 90 days, you're building the fortress. Not overnight. Not with motivation. Not with a weekend seminar or a motivational quote. Stone by stone. Day by day. Choice by choice. That's the key. You're not looking for a quick fix. You're not looking for a hack. You're committing to construction. And construction is slow, unglamorous, and repetitive, but it's the only thing that lasts. Here's your day one mindset shift. And this is non-negotiable. Stop identifying as broken. Stop identifying as sensitive. Stop identifying as damaged. Struggling or overwhelmed, you're not broken. You're under construction. Read that again. You're not broken. You're under construction. There's a massive difference. Broken means unfixable. Broken means permanent. Broken means victim. Under construction means progress. Under construction means intentional. Under construction means builder. You have a choice right now. You can keep telling yourself the story that you're too sensitive, too anxious, too emotional, too damaged by your past, or you can tell yourself the truth. You're under construction, and what's under construction isn't pretty. It's messy. There's scaffolding. There's debris. There are unfinished sections. But that's not failure. That's process. You're not broken. You're under construction. Say it out loud. Right now. Mean it. That phrase is going to carry you through the next 90 days. Because on day 17, when you react poorly and lose your temper, you're not broken, you're under construction. On day 43, when you slip back into old patterns, you're not broken, you're under construction. On day 71, when you feel like you haven't made progress, you're not broken, you're under construction. The fortress doesn't appear overnight. But it is being built. Here's what this means practically. Starting today, your mind is a war zone. You treat it like one. That means you stop letting every thought, every emotion, every external opinion run wild and unchecked. You start defending it aggressively. Someone criticizes you. That's an attack. You don't let it breach the walls. You observe it. You assess it. You decide if it has value. But you don't let it control you. Something triggers you emotionally. That's an attack. You don't react blindly. You pause. You breathe. You respond strategically. Your own negative thoughts try to spiral. That's an attack from within. You don't indulge it. You notice it. You name it. You redirect it. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. Starting today, you're turning it into a weapon. This is warfare. And you've been losing because you didn't even know. You were in a fight. Now you know. Now, you act accordingly. The next 90 days will be the hardest mental work you've ever done. Not because it's complicated, because it's relentless. Because it requires you to show up every single day and place another stone, another brick, another layer of defense. You're not broken. You're under construction. And construction starts now. You've acknowledged the war zone. You've chosen to build the fortress instead of maintaining the house of cards. You've made the identity shift from broken to builder. Now it's time to take inventory. Time to identify exactly where your energy is bleeding out. Time to stop the leaks before you build the walls. Stop bleeding energy on what you can't control. You're hemorrhaging energy right now, every single day. You're bleeding mental and emotional energy on things that don't matter. Things you can't change. Things you can't control, and it's destroying you. Let's do something most people are too afraid to do. Let's conduct an energy audit. Right now, think about what occupied your mind yesterday. Really think about it. How much time did you spend worrying about what someone thinks of you? How much energy went into replaying a past mistake? How much mental bandwidth was consumed by scrolling through social media, comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel? How much time did you waste obsessing over things completely outside your control? Here's the truth. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. That's not a metaphor, that's a law. Your attention is the currency. Your energy follows it. And most of you are spending that currency on things that give you zero return. You're investing in other people's opinions. You're investing in past failures. You're investing in future anxieties that haven't happened and probably never will. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And your attention has been going to all the wrong places. Here's what you need to understand. 90% of your emotional suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Read that again. 90%. Not from actual problems. Not from real threats. From trying to control things you were never meant to control. You're trying to control what people think. You can't. You're trying to control outcomes that depend on 1,000 variables you don't influence. You can't. You're trying to control the past. You definitely can't, and every single attempt drains you. Every single attempt weakens your fortress. Every single attempt bleeds energy you desperately need for the things you actually can control. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. It's time to redirect that flow. Let me give you a framework that will change everything if you actually use it. Imagine 3 circles. Circle 1, what you control. This is small. Brutally small. You control your actions, your reactions, your discipline, your effort, your words, your daily choices. That's it. That's the circle. Circle 2, what you influence. This is slightly bigger. You influence some outcomes, some relationships, some results. You don't control them, but your actions can nudge them in a direction. Maybe circle 3, what you can't control. This is everything else, and it's massive. Other people's opinions, other people's choices, the economy, the weather, traffic, your past, most of your future. What happens to you? Here's where most people get it catastrophically wrong. They spend 90% of their energy in circle 3, 10% in circle 2, and whatever's left over in circle 1, that's backwards. That's insane. That's why you're exhausted and getting nowhere. Fortresses are built by people who invest 100% of their energy in circle 100%. That's the key. You don't control whether you get the promotion. You control whether you show up early, master your craft, and produce exceptional work. You don't control whether someone likes you. You control whether you act with integrity and offer value. You don't control the outcome of your effort. You control the effort itself. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Starting today, all of it goes into circle 1. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. 2 employees. Same company. Same challenges. Employee 1 is obsessed with office politics. Who said what? Who's getting favored? Who's getting credit? Every meeting, he's analyzing dynamics. Every conversation, he's reading into subtext. Every night, he's replaying interactions, trying to figure out how to position himself. His energy is bleeding into circle 3. Things he can't control. Employee 2 doesn't care about any of that. Not because he's naive, because he's strategic. He shows up. He focuses on skill mastery. He produces results. He controls his output, his attitude, his discipline. That's it. Guess which one gets promoted? Guess which one sleeps well at night? Guess which one is building a fortress while the other is building an ulcer? You have a choice right now. You can keep obsessing over circle 3, what people think, what might happen, what already happened, what's unfair, what's out of your hands, or you can pull every single ounce of energy back into circle 1 and become unstoppable. That's the choice. Make it. Now, here's your implementation tool. I call it the 72-hour rule, starting right now. When something outside your control tries to steal your energy, and it will, you give yourself 72 hours to completely detach from it. Not suppress it, not ignore it. Detach from it. Someone criticizes you unfairly. 72 hours. You acknowledge it happened. You decide if there's actionable feedback in circle 1. If not, you detach completely. Something didn't go your way. 72 hours. You extract the lesson. You adjust what you control. Then you detach. You made a mistake last week and can't stop replaying it. 72 hours. You identify what you'll do differently next time. That's circle 1. The rest? Detach. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Not my mental energy. That's your mantra. Repeat it. Mean it. Live it. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Not my mental energy. Every time you catch yourself obsessing over circle 3, you say it out loud if you have to, because here's what happens. The first 50 times you try to detach, it'll feel forced. It'll feel like you're avoiding or suppressing. You're not. You're redirecting. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. You're choosing where it flows. After 100 repetitions, it gets easier. After 500, it becomes automatic. After 1,000, detachment is your default response, not your struggle. That's when the fortress becomes unbreakable. It's not about being cold. It's not about not caring. It's about being strategic with the most valuable resource. You have your mental and emotional energy. You don't need their permission to stop caring about their opinion. You don't need perfect circumstances to focus on what you control. You don't need the past to be different to build a different future. You just need to stop the bleeding energy audit. 3 circles. 72-hour rule, those aren't concepts. Those are your tools for the next 90 days, where your attention goes, your energy flows. You're about to become ruthlessly intentional about where it goes. You've stopped the energy leaks. You've identified your circle of control. You've committed to detachment. But here's the problem. Even with all that energy reclaimed, you're still losing it in one catastrophic way. You're losing it every single time you react. Emotional reactions are expensive. Stop POING every time you react emotionally. You pay a price. Every outburst. Every defensive response. Every time you let someone see they got to you, you're paying. And the currency is everything you claim. You want respect, opportunity, power, credibility, peace of mind. Gone. Every single time you react. Let me ask you a question. And I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. What has reacting emotionally cost you in the last year? Think about it. Really think about it. The argument you escalated that damaged a relationship. The email you sent in anger that you can't take back. The meeting where you got defensive and lost respect. The conversation where you couldn't control your tone and revealed exactly how much power someone has over you. What did it cost you? Here's the truth you need to hear. Reaction is a tax only the weak. Keep paying, and you've been paying it your entire life. Strong people don't react. They respond. There's a massive difference. Reaction is automatic, emotional, impulsive. It's your nervous system, hijacking your decision-making. It's giving control to whoever or whatever triggered you. Response is deliberate, calculated, strategic. It's you maintaining control regardless of what's happening around. Reaction is weakness on display. Response is strength in action. Reaction is a tax only the weak keep paying. And starting today, you stop paying it. Here's what most people don't understand. Every time you react, you're training yourself to react again. You're reinforcing the pattern. You're making it your default. And everyone around you learns exactly how to control you. They know if they say this, you'll explode. If they do that, you'll spiral. If they push here, you'll break. You've given them the manual. You've shown them every single button they can push. That's not their fault. That's yours. But here's the other side. Every time you don't react, you're building the fortress. You're training yourself in emotional control. You're becoming someone who can't be manipulated, triggered, or thrown off course. That's the key. This isn't about suppressing emotions. This isn't about becoming robotic. This is about refusing to let your emotions make expensive decisions on your behalf. You have a choice. Every single time someone insults you, you have a choice. React and prove they got to you, or respond with calculated calm and prove they're powerless. Something doesn't go your way. You have a choice. React with frustration and announce your lack of control, or respond with adjustment and demonstrate resilience. Someone provokes you deliberately. You have a choice. Give them exactly what they want, your emotional reaction, or give them nothing but neutral composure. Reaction is a tax only the weak keep paying. You're choosing strength. You're choosing response. Now let me give you the exact tool that will change everything. The 10-second pause protocol. It's simple. It's brutally effective. And most of you won't do it because it feels unnatural at first. Here's how it works. The moment you feel triggered, hurt, angry, or provoked, the exact moment you want to react, you pause. 10 full seconds, minimum. You don't speak. You don't type. You don't move. You breathe. You observe what's happening inside you without acting on it. 10 seconds. That's the gap between reaction and response. That's the gap between weakness and strength. That's the gap where fortresses are built. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world. Two people. Same criticism, same trigger. Person 1 feels the anger rising. Within 3 seconds, they're typing a response. It's midnight. They're furious. They lay out every defensive point. They hit send. It feels good for about 90 seconds. Then reality hits. They can't unsend it. The damage is done. Their reaction is now permanent evidence of their lack of control. Person 2 feels the exact same anger. Same trigger. Same impulse to respond immediately, but they pause. 10 seconds. They close the laptop. They wait. They sleep on it. The next morning, they reread the criticism with a clear mind. They respond with calculated precision. Maybe they address it. Maybe they ignore it. Maybe they extract the 1% that's valid and discard the rest. But whatever they do, it's a response, not a reaction. Guess which one keeps their power? Guess which one builds respect? Guess which one is constructing a fortress while the other is demolishing their own foundation? The 10-second pause protocol. It's not optional. It's non-negotiable. You will feel the urge to react. That urge doesn't go away. But the 10-second pause gives you the space to choose response over reaction. Every single time. Now, here's the next level of this. Controlling what they can see. Your face is leaking information. Your voice is betraying your emotional state. Your body language is announcing exactly how you feel, and everyone around you is reading it constantly. They can see when they've upset you. They can hear when they've rattled you. They can tell when you're barely holding it together. And that gives them power. Here's your new rule. Neutral face. Neutral tone, always. Not fake happiness. Not forced smiling. Neutral, someone criticizes you. Neutral face. Neutral tone, someone tries to provoke you. Neutral face. Neutral tone, something goes wrong. Neutral face. Neutral tone, they can't control what they can't see. That's your mantra. They can't control what they can't see. Every time your face shows frustration, you've lost. Every time your voice cracks with emotion, you've revealed vulnerability. Every time your body language screams discomfort, you've handed over control. But when you maintain neutral face and neutral tone, regardless of what's happening internally, you become unreadable, unpredictable, uncontrollable. They can't control what they can't see. This is a trainable skill. It feels impossible at first. You'll slip. You'll react. Your face will show everything. That's fine. You're under construction, remember? But every single time you catch yourself and return to neutral, you're placing another stone in the fortress. Every time you pause 10 seconds instead of reacting immediately, you're building strength. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being strategic with your emotions. It's about refusing to let them leak out and give others ammunition. Reaction is a tax only the weak keep paying. You're done paying it. 10-second pause. Neutral face. Neutral tone. These aren't suggestions. These are your daily non-negotiables for the fortress build. You've learned to stop reacting. You've committed to the pause. You've mastered the neutral exterior. Now, it's time to break down exactly what the next 90 days look like, day by day. Because theory means nothing without implementation. And implementation starts with month 1, day 1 to 30, the foundation. Phase, brutal honesty required. Month 1 is going to be ugly. Let's be clear about that right now. You're going to fail. You're going to react. You're going to break. You're going to disappoint yourself. Repeatedly. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen, because the first 30 days aren't about perfection. They're about awareness. You're not trying to be bulletproof yet. You're trying to see clearly for the first time. You're trying to understand exactly how and where your fortress has cracks. And the only way to find the cracks is to put pressure on the structure. Here's what most people get catastrophically wrong. They start day 1 expecting to be a different person by day 2. They react emotionally on day 5 and decide they've failed. They slip back into old patterns on day 12 and quit entirely. That's not failure. That's data. Observe, don't obsess. Notice, don't judge. That's your mantra for the next 30 days. Repeat it, internalize it. Live by it. When you react poorly, you don't spiral into self-hatred. You observe. You notice what triggered you. You notice what happened in your body right before you lost control. You notice the pattern. Observe, don't obsess. Notice, don't judge. When you let emotions drive a bad decision, you don't declare yourself broken. You notice it. You name it. You write it down. You move forward. This is the foundation phase. Foundations aren't glamorous. They're below ground. No one sees them. No one celebrates them. But without a solid foundation, the entire fortress collapses. That's the key. You're not performing for anyone in month 1. You're not trying to impress yourself with perfect execution. You're building awareness. You're collecting data. You're learning your patterns. Because here's the truth. You can't fix what you won't face. Read that again. You can't fix what you won't face. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding the truth about themselves. They don't want to see how often they react. They don't want to acknowledge how much control they've given away. They don't want to face how fragile their mental state actually is. So they never fix it. You're different. Starting today, you face it. All of it, without judgment. Without shame. With brutal, clinical honesty. You can't fix what you won't face. So you're facing everything. Now let me give you the exact framework for the next 30 days. You need 5 daily non-negotiables. 5 fortress-building habits that happen every single day, no matter what. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. Here they are. Non-negotiable 1. 10 minutes of silence. No phone, no music, no podcast, no input. Just you and your thoughts. Sit with them. Observe them. Don't engage, don't spiral, just notice. Most of you can't do this. Your phone is in your hand before your eyes are fully open. You're consuming content before you've had a single original thought. That stops now. 10 minutes silence daily. That's where you build the mental muscle to control your inner world. Non-negotiable 2. 1 physical challenge. Cold shower. Hard workout. Something that makes your body uncomfortable and your mind want to quit. This isn't about fitness. This is about proving to yourself that you can do hard things when you don't feel like it. The person who can't take a cold shower can't control their emotions under pressure. It's the same weakness. Different manifestation. Non-negotiable 3. 1 moment of deliberate emotional control. 1 situation today where you would normally react and you choose not to. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You pause. You choose calm. Someone says something annoying. You pause. You choose neutral. 1 moment. Deliberately chosen. That's your daily practice. Non-negotiable 4. Journal your triggers. End of every day, write down every moment you lost control, reacted poorly, or let emotions drive decisions. Not to punish yourself. To see the pattern. You can't fix what you won't face. The journal forces you to face it. Non-negotiable 5. 1 act of discipline when you don't feel like it. Make the bed when you'd rather scroll. Do the work when you'd rather procrastinate. Have the hard conversation when you'd rather avoid. 1 act. Daily. This builds the discipline muscle that everything else depends on. 5 non-negotiables. Every day. For 30 days, let me show you what this looks like in real life. 2 people. Same goals. Same desire to build mental strength. Person 1 says they don't have time. They're too busy. They'll start when things calm down. They'll build the fortress when life is less chaotic. Life never calms down. They never start. 5 years later, they're still mentally fragile and wondering why. Person 2 wakes up 30 minutes earlier. That's it. 30 minutes before the world wakes up. Before the demands hit. Before the chaos starts. 10 minutes of silence. 5-minute cold shower. 15 minutes to journal and set intention. They build their fortress before their first email. Before their first meeting. Before anyone else gets access to their mental energy. Every single day. Guess which one is unbreakable by day 90? Guess which one is still making excuses? You have a choice right now. You can keep saying you don't have time, or you can make time. You can keep waiting for perfect conditions, or you can build in imperfect ones. It's not about having time. It's about making it non-negotiable. That's the difference between people who transform and people who talk about transforming. Now here's your tracking system for month 1. Simple daily log. 3 columns. Column 1, what triggered me today? Column 2, how did I react or respond? Column 3, what pattern am I noticing? That's it. 3 questions. Answered honestly every single night. After 7 days, you'll see patterns. After 14 days, those patterns will be undeniable. After 30 days, you'll know exactly where your fortress needs the most reinforcement. You can't fix what you won't face. The log makes you face it. Here's what's going to happen over the next 30 days. You'll fail more than you succeed. You'll react more than you respond. You'll feel like you're not making progress. That feeling is lying to you. Every moment you observe instead of obsess, you're making progress. Every trigger you journal, you're making progress. Every non-negotiable you complete, you're making progress. The foundation is being poured. You just can't see it yet. Observe, don't obsess. Notice, don't judge. You can't fix what you won't face. Those 3 phrases will carry you through month 1. You've established awareness. You've built the foundation. You've faced what you've been avoiding. But here's the truth. Month 2 is where it gets harder. Month 2 is where motivation dies and discipline is born. Month 2 is where most people quit and where fortresses are actually built. Day 3160, the reinforcement phase, when IT gets harder. Welcome to month 2. This is where most people quit, not because they failed, not because the system doesn't work, because month 2 feels worse than month 1, and they weren't prepared for that. Let me tell you exactly what's happening right now if you're somewhere between day 31 and day 60. The initial motivation is gone completely. That excitement you felt on day 1, dead. The results feel invisible. You've been doing the work, but you don't feel dramatically different. You still react sometimes. You still struggle. You're starting to wonder if any of this actually matters, and your old patterns are fighting back viciously, harder than they did in month 1, because patterns don't die quietly. They fight for survival. This is the phase where people quit, where they decide it's not working, where they convince themselves they're the exception, that they're broken in a way that can't be fixed. Here's the truth. Month 2 is exactly where the fortress gets built. Not month 1. Not month 3. Month 2, because easy doesn't build unbreakable. The obstacle is the construction material. Read that again. The obstacle is the construction material. The fact that it feels harder right now, that's not evidence you're failing. That's evidence you're building something real. The fact that motivation is gone. Perfect. Now you find out if you have discipline, the fact that old patterns are fighting back. Good, that's the resistance that builds strength. The obstacle is the construction material. Every hard moment in month 2 is another stone in your fortress, but you have to show up anyway. Even when, especially when you don't feel like it. Here's what separates the people who finish from the people who quit when progress feels invisible. Weak people look for new strategies, new tactics, new shortcuts. Something exciting to reignite the motivation. Strong people double down on the basics. That's the key. You don't need a new strategy. You need ruthless consistency with the strategy you already have, the 5 non-negotiables from month 1. You're doing them in month 2. Every single day. 0 negotiation. The 10-second pause. You're using it in month 2. Every single trigger, the neutral face, neutral tone. You're practicing it in month 2. Every single interaction. It's not about new. It's about relentless repetition of what works. Let me paint you a picture. 2 athletes. Same sport, same potential. Athlete 1 trains hard when they feel inspired, when motivation is high, when they see results, but the moment progress slows, they switch programs. They look for new methods. They chase the next exciting thing. Athlete 2 has 1 program, 1 system, and they run it relentlessly. In the off-season, when no one's watching, when they're tired, when they don't feel like it, when progress is invisible, guess which one becomes elite? Guess which one is still mediocre 5 years later, blaming genetics and luck? It's not about talent. It's about showing up when showing up is hard. You have a choice right now. You can chase new strategies and stay stuck in month 1 forever, restarting every time it gets hard, or you can double down on the basics and push through month 2. Where the real transformation happens, the choice is yours. But understand this, the fortress is built in the boring middle. Not the exciting beginning, not the victorious end, the middle. Right here, right now, day 43, when you're exhausted and nothing feels different. This is where it's built. Now let me tell you what month 2 is really about. Private wins, victories no one sees. Battles no one knows you fought. Discipline maintained in total darkness. Month 1, you were learning. Month 2, you're proving to yourself that you can maintain discipline when no one's watching, when no one's cheering. When there's no immediate reward, what you do in private determines who you become in public. That's not a cliché. That's a law. The conversation you didn't escalate even though you wanted to. Private win, the emotional reaction you felt rising and chose to pause instead. Private win. The morning you didn't feel like doing your non-negotiables but did them anyway. Private win. No one saw those. No one's congratulating you. No one knows the battle you just won, but those private wins are compounding. Every single one is reinforcing the fortress. Every single one is building unsack What you do in private determines who you become in public. 6 months from now, people will see you handle pressure with calm. They'll see you stay neutral when everyone else is reactive. They'll see you as mentally strong and they'll think it's natural. They'll think you're just built different, but you'll know the truth. It was built in month 2. In the private wins. In the moments no one saw, here's your focus for the next 30 days. Stop looking for evidence of transformation in how you feel. Feelings lie. Feelings are the last thing to change. Start looking for evidence in what you do. Did you complete your non-negotiables today? That's evidence. Did you pause instead of react today? That's evidence. Did you show up when you didn't feel like it today? That's evidence. The scoreboard isn't your emotions. The scoreboard is your actions. And if your actions are consistent, the fortress is being built. Period. It's not about feeling strong. It's about being disciplined. It's not about motivation. It's about non-negotiable consistency. It's not about immediate results. It's about private wins that compound over time. The obstacle is the construction material. What you do in private determines who you become in public. Month 2 is testing whether you're serious, whether you're willing to build when it's boring, whether you'll show up when no one's watching. Most people fail this test. They quit right here, right when the fortress is actually being built. You're not most people. You don't need their permission to keep going. You don't need to feel motivated to stay disciplined. You don't need visible results to trust the process. You just need to show up again and again and again. Every day of month 2 that you complete your non-negotiables, you're reinforcing the foundation. Every trigger you pause on, you're building strength. Every private win, you're becoming unbreakable. The obstacle is the construction material. Use it. You've survived the hardest phase. You've doubled down when motivation died. You've collected private wins that no one else sees. Now you're entering the phase where everything shifts, where the fortress becomes visible, where you stop building and start being. Day 61 to 90, fortification phase, becoming bulletproof. Something happened around day 60. You probably didn't notice it at first, but something shifted. You stopped trying to be disciplined. You started being disciplined. You stopped working on emotional control. You started having emotional control. You stopped building a fortress. You became the fortress. This is the identity shift. And it changes everything. Here's what I mean. In month 1, you were trying. Effort everywhere. Conscious thought before every action. Reminding yourself constantly to pause, to stay neutral, to observe instead of react. In month 2, you were grinding. Still hard? Still deliberate, but slightly more automatic. The pause becoming a reflex. The discipline becoming a pattern. Month 3, you're not trying anymore. You're being someone triggers you and the pause happens automatically. You don't think about it. You don't force it. It's just who you are now. Someone provokes you and neutral face, neutral tone is your default. Not your strategy, your identity. You don't have discipline. You are discipline. Read that again. You don't have discipline. You are discipline. That's the shift that happens in the fortification phase. You stop doing the things. You become the person who does the things naturally. This isn't about perfection. You'll still slip. You'll still have moments of weakness. But your baseline has changed. Your default response has transformed. The fortress isn't something you're building anymore. It's something you are. That's the key, and here's where it gets powerful. Now you test it. Month 3 is about stress testing your fortress, deliberately, intentionally, strategically. You put yourself in situations that used to break you, not to torture yourself. To prove what you've built, the conversation you used to avoid, have it. Walk in with calm, clarity, and control. And watch yourself handle it differently. The pressure situation that used to make you reactive, step into it. Observe your new response with curiosity and confidence. The person who used to trigger you every single time, engage and notice how their power over you has disappeared. This is the stress test. And it's non-negotiable because a fortress that's never been tested isn't a fortress. It's a theory. You need to prove to yourself that this is real, that the transformation isn't temporary, that you're not just having a good streak, you fundamentally changed. Let me show you what this looks like. 2 people. Both struggled with conflict their entire lives. Person 1 spent years avoiding it. Every difficult conversation postponed. Every hard truth left unsaid. Every moment of necessary confrontation dodged. They tell themselves they're keeping the peace. They're choosing their battles. They're being smart. They're lying. They're avoiding because they don't trust themselves not to break under pressure. Person 2 used to be the same. Avoidance was survival. Conflict meant losing control, saying things they'd regret, emotional chaos, but they built the fortress. 90 days of deliberate practice. And now, on day 75, they walk into the conversation they used to fear. They don't avoid. They don't deflect. They show up, and something remarkable happens. They stay calm. Their voice stays neutral. Their face doesn't betray emotion. They say what needs to be said with clarity and control, not because they're faking it, because they've become it. You don't have discipline. You are disciplined. That's the difference between someone who talks about growth and someone who embodies it. You have a choice right now. You can keep avoiding the stress tests, protecting yourself from situations that might challenge your fortress, or you can step into them deliberately, proving to yourself that what you've built is real. 1 keeps you uncertain. 1 makes you unbreakable. Here's your implementation for month 3. Identify 3 situations that used to break you. Write them down. Maybe it's a difficult conversation with a specific person. Maybe it's a high-pressure work environment. Maybe it's a social situation that used to trigger your insecurity. Whatever it is, you're walking into it in month 3. On purpose. Not recklessly, strategically, you prepare. You remind yourself of your tools. You commit to the pause, to neutral face and tone, to response over reaction. Then you step in. And you observe, not with fear, with curiosity. How will I respond now that I'm different? That's the question. And the answer will shock you, because the person who walks into that situation on day 70 is not the same person who started on day 1. The fortress has been built. Now you're proving it can withstand siege. Now here's what you need to understand about day 90. It's not the finish line. Day 90 is not the end. It's the beginning of Unbreakable. Read that again. Day 90 is not the end. It's the beginning of Unbreakable. A fortress requires constant maintenance. You don't build it once and walk away. You maintain it daily, forever. The non-negotiables don't stop on day 91. They become your lifestyle. The pause doesn't become optional after 3 months. It becomes permanent. The neutral face, neutral tone, the private discipline, the emotional control, all of it continues. Not as a challenge. As maintenance. This is the maintenance mindset. And it's what separates people who transform temporarily from people who transform permanently. Here's the truth. You can lose everything you built if you stop maintaining it. Month 4. You skip your non-negotiables. You tell yourself you don't need them anymore. You're healed now. Month 5. You notice you're reacting more. Getting triggered easier. Losing the edge. Month 6. You're back where you started. Wondering what happened. That's what happens without maintenance. But if you commit to maintenance, if you understand that day 90 is just the new baseline, you become permanently unbreakable. The fortress doesn't just hold, It strengthens year after year because you're still placing stones, still reinforcing, still maintaining. You don't have discipline. You are disciplined. And discipline doesn't take days off. It's not about motivation anymore. It's not about a 90-day challenge. It's about identity. It's about who you are now, the person who pauses, the person who stays neutral, the person who maintains private discipline, the person who can't be broken. That's you now. On day 90 and beyond. Day 90 is not the end. It's the beginning of Unbreakable. Commit now to the maintenance, to the daily practices, to the lifestyle that built the fortress and will keep it impenetrable forever. You've built a fortress. You've tested it. You've committed to maintaining it, but there's one thing that can still tear it down from the inside. One addiction that keeps most people mentally weak their entire lives. And it's time to face it directly, the silent cost of seeking validation. You're addicted to approval. Let's not pretend otherwise. Every post you make, you're checking for likes. Every conversation, you're reading faces to see if they approve. Every decision, you're wondering what other people will think. And it's destroying your fortress from the inside. Here's what you need to understand. Every time you seek external validation, you hand someone else the keys to your emotional state. Every single time you post something and wait for the response. Now your mood depends on whether people engage. They control how you feel about yourself. You share an idea and search for approval in their eyes. Now your confidence depends on their reaction. They control your self-worth. You make a choice and immediately explain it, justify it, defend it. Now your certainty depends on their acceptance. They control your conviction. You've given them all the power. And most of them don't even want it. Stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. That's the brutal truth. While you're obsessing over what they think, they're barely thinking about you at all. They're too busy obsessing over what other people think about them. Everyone's performing. No one's watching. Everyone's seeking validation. No one's giving it in a way that actually satisfies. It's a rigged game. And you keep playing it anyway. Stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. Here's why this matters for your fortress. Fortress built on external validation isn't a fortress. It's a house of cards, again, because the moment that validation stops, and it always stops, the entire structure collapses. You were strong when people praised you. You were confident when people approved. You were certain when people agreed, but then the praise stopped. The approval disappeared. People disagreed, and you collapsed. That's not strength. That's dependency. And dependency is the opposite of a fortress. Real fortresses are built by people who validate themselves through action, not applause. That's the key. You don't need their likes to know you did good work. You know because you did the work to your standard. You don't need their approval to feel confident. You feel confident because you kept your word to yourself. You don't need their agreement to be certain. You're certain because your actions align with your values. That's self-referential confidence. And it's the only kind that lasts. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Two creators. Both post content online. Creator 1 posts and immediately starts checking, refresh, how many likes? What are people saying? Are they engaging? The comments are positive, they feel amazing. The comments are negative, they feel destroyed. No comments at all, they feel invisible. Their entire emotional state is controlled by the response. They're a puppet, and the audience holds the strings. Creator 2 has a different approach. They create something they're proud of. They post it. Then they move on. They check comments once, maybe twice. But their emotional state isn't attached to the response. They validated the work before they posted it. Their opinion is the one that matters. The audience can love it or hate it. Doesn't change what Creator 2 knows to be true. They did the work. They maintain their standard. That's the scoreboard. Stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. Start performing for the one person who's always watching. Yourself. You have a choice right now. You can keep seeking external validation and remain emotionally dependent on people who Don't care as much as you think they do, or you can build self-referential confidence and become unshakable. Here's your challenge for the next 30 days. The validation detox. Eliminate all validation-seeking behavior completely for 30 days. No posting for likes. If you post something, post it and don't check the response obsessively. Once a day maximum. Better yet, don't check it all for 24 hours. No fishing for compliments. You know what this looks like? The self-deprecating comment designed to get someone to disagree and praise you. Stop it. No explaining yourself. Make your decisions and let them stand. You don't owe anyone a justification. You don't need their understanding to proceed. No seeking reassurance. Don't ask, is this okay? Don't ask, what do you think? Trust your own judgment and move forward. 30 days. Complete validation detox. And watch what happens. The first week will be uncomfortable. You'll feel the urge constantly. The urge to check. The urge to explain. The urge to seek that hit of approval. Sit with that discomfort. That's the addiction withdrawing. That's your dependency being revealed. Week 2, it gets easier. You start noticing how much mental energy you were wasting on other people's opinions. Week 3, you start feeling something you haven't felt in a long time. Freedom. Freedom from the constant need for approval. Freedom from emotional dependency. Week 4, you realize something profound. You don't need their permission. For anything, you don't need their permission to be confident, to make decisions, to live according to your values, to build your fortress exactly how you want it built. Their opinion literally doesn't matter unless you give it power. And you're done giving it power. Now, here's how you build self-referential confidence permanently. You develop an internal scorecard, not based on likes, approval, or external response. Based solely on one question, did I do what I said I would do? That's it. That's the entire scorecard. Did you complete your non-negotiables today? Yes or no. Did you maintain discipline when you didn't feel like it? Yes or no. Did you pause instead of react? Yes or no. Did you keep your word to yourself? Yes or no. Your opinion of yourself based on your private integrity becomes the only opinion that matters. Your relationship with yourself is the only relationship you can't escape. Read that again. Your relationship with yourself is the only relationship you can't escape. Every other relationship in your life you can walk away from. Every other opinion you can ignore. Every other person you can distance yourself from, but yourself? You're stuck with you forever. So that relationship better be solid. That opinion better be based on truth. That validation better come from within. Because if you don't validate yourself through integrity, you'll seek validation externally through dependency. And dependency destroys fortresses. Your relationship with yourself is the only relationship you can't escape. Make it one built on kept promises, not external approval. It's not about being liked. It's about being disciplined. It's not about applause. It's about integrity. It's not about their validation. It's about your standards. Stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. Start building a relationship with yourself that makes their attention irrelevant. You've stopped seeking their validation. You've built self-referential confidence. You've freed yourself from emotional dependency. Now there's one more truth about strength that most people never learn. The most powerful thing you can do is suffer without announcing it. Suffering in silence. Build strength louder than words. Stop telling people about your struggles. Seriously, stop. Every hardship, every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of difficulty, you're broadcasting it all. And it's making you weaker. Here's the pattern. Something hard happens. Within minutes, you're talking about it, posting about it, explaining to anyone who'll listen how difficult things are for you right now. You're seeking sympathy. Whether you admit it or not, that's what you're doing. And sympathy doesn't build fortresses. It destroys them. Weak people broadcast every hardship. They need everyone to know what they're going through. They need the acknowledgement. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. The validation that their struggle is real. Strong people endure privately. They face the hardship. They do the work. They handle the pain, and they let their results speak, suffer in silence. Win in public, that's the formula. That's the strategy. That's how you build a reputation that words never could, suffer in silence. Win in public, not the other way around. You don't announce the suffering and hope for applause. You endure the suffering quietly and let the transformation announce itself. Here's why this matters. Every time you broadcast your struggle, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who struggles. You're cementing yourself in the role of victim. Of someone things happen to, not someone who makes things happen. You're not building strength. You're building a narrative of weakness, and your mind believes the story you keep telling. So does everyone else? The person who constantly talks about how hard their life is? That becomes their identity. That's who they are. The person with the hard life who can't catch a break, the person who stays silent through difficulty and emerges transformed, that becomes their identity. The person who overcomes, the person who's unbreakable. Suffer in silence. Win in public, you have a choice right now. You can keep broadcasting every challenge, every setback, every difficult moment, or you can go silent. Handle it privately. Build through it quietly. And shock everyone with who you become. Now let's talk about complaining. Because complaining is different from sharing struggles, but it's equally destructive. Every complaint is a confession of powerlessness. Read that again. Every complaint is a confession of powerlessness. When you complain, you're declaring that your circumstances control you, that you're at the mercy of external conditions, that you're not in the driver's seat of your own life. That's not reality. That's a choice. A weak choice. Let me show you what this looks like. 2 employees. Same job, same challenges, same difficult boss, same tight deadlines, same resource constraints. Employee 1 complains constantly in every meeting, every break room conversation, every happy hour. Everything is about how hard the job is, how unfair the boss is, how impossible the deadlines are. They think they're bonding. They think they're being real. They think they're justified. They're wrong. They're building a reputation as someone who can't handle pressure, someone who focuses on problems instead of solutions, someone who's powerless. Employee 2 faces the exact same conditions, same boss, same deadlines, same constraints, but they don't complain. They solve quietly, consistently, without announcement. The boss is difficult. They adapt their communication style and get what they need anyway. The deadlines are tight. They prioritize ruthlessly and deliver anyway. The resources are limited. They get creative and produce anyway. Guess which one gets promoted? Guess which one gets stuck exactly where they are, wondering why their hard work isn't recognized? It's not about hard work. It's about the narrative you're building with your words. Complaining builds a narrative of powerlessness. Silence builds a narrative of competence. Here's your implementation. For the next 90 days, eliminate complaining entirely. Zero tolerance. Not complain less. Eliminate it. Catch yourself about to complain, stop, redirect, either solve the problem or accept it. But don't complain about it. Someone invites you to join their complaint session. Decline. I'm good, thanks. Change the subject. Leave if you have to. You feel the urge to post a complaint online. Don't. Close the app. Journal it privately if you must process it, then move on. 90 days. Zero complaining. And watch what happens to your mental strength. Watch how it multiplies, because here's what you'll discover. Most of what you complained about wasn't actually worth the mental energy. Most of it was just you rehearsing powerlessness. When you stop complaining, you start solving. Or you start accepting. Either way, you reclaim power. It's not about suppressing valid concerns. It's about refusing to rehearse weakness. That's the key. Now, here's the strategic advantage you're not seeing. When you keep your struggles, your process, and your pain private, you protect your fortress during construction. Strategic opacity. That's what I'm talking about. People don't need to know what you're working on. They don't need to know what you're struggling with. They don't need to know your 90-day plan. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let your results shock them. That's your new strategy. You're building in private. You're suffering in silence. You're maintaining discipline in darkness. And when you emerge 90 days from now, transformed, they won't know what hit them. And here's the beautiful part. They can't interfere with what they don't know about. The moment you announce your goals, people have opinions, advice, doubt, skepticism. Are you sure that's a good idea? I tried that once, it doesn't work. You're going to do that for 90 days? That seems extreme. Their doubt becomes background noise in your mind. Their skepticism plants seeds of uncertainty. Their interference slows your construction. But when you build in silence, none of that happens. You protect the fortress from outside interference. You protect your belief from external doubt. You protect your process from unwanted input. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let your results shock them. 6 months from now, they'll notice you're different, calmer, stronger, unshakable. They'll ask what changed. You don't need to explain. You just smile and keep moving because your results are speaking louder than your words ever could. Suffer in silence. Win in public. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let your results shock them. It's not about being secretive. It's about being strategic. It's not about isolation. It's about protection during construction. It's not about never sharing. It's about letting results speak instead of words. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Stop complaining about your circumstances. Start building in strategic silence. The fortress is nearly complete. But there's one final destroyer of mental strength that must be addressed. One behavior that announces weakness louder than anything else. Stop proving and start. You're still explaining yourself. To people who don't care. To people who have no authority over your life. To people who are committed to misunderstanding you no matter what you say, and every explanation weakens your fortress. Here's the pattern. You make a decision. Before the ink is dry, you're explaining it, justifying it, defending it, making sure everyone understands why you chose what you chose. You set a boundary. Then you spend 20 minutes explaining why you need that boundary, apologizing for it, softening it with justifications. You change direction in your life. And immediately, you're defending that change to anyone who questions it. Stop. Just stop. If you're constantly explaining, defending, or justifying your choices, you're still seeking permission. You're still asking for approval. You're still giving other people authority they don't deserve and didn't earn. Fortresses don't justify. They simply exist, immovable, undeniable. That's the key. A fortress doesn't explain why it's there. It doesn't defend its existence. It doesn't apologize for taking up space. It just stands strong, solid, unquestionable. You need to become the same way. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Read that again. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, because here's the truth. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain. Some people will disagree no matter how rational your justification. Some people will judge no matter how thoroughly you defend yourself. Your explanation won't change their mind. It just reveals that their opinion still matters to you. And the moment you reveal that, you lose power. Strong people make decisions and let them stand. No explanation. No justification. No defense. This is what I'm doing. That's the whole statement. That's the complete sentence. Not, this is what I'm doing because ... Not, I hope you understand that ... Not, let me explain why ... Just, this is what I'm doing. Period. End of discussion. You don't need their permission. You never did. You don't need them to understand. You need you to be certain. You don't need them to agree. You need you to commit. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Start making decisions with the confidence of someone who doesn't require external approval. Now let's talk about the words to evidence ratio. You talk too much about what you're going to do, and you don't do enough. The person who talks constantly about their goals rarely achieves them. You know why? Because the talking gives them the dopamine hit without the work. They announce their 5-year plan to everyone who listen. They get the praise. The good for you. That's amazing. and their brain registers that as achievement, but nothing's been achieved. Nothing's been done, just words, just announcements, just performance. Meanwhile, someone else is quietly executing. No announcements, no explanations, no grand proclamations about what they're building. They're just building it. And 5 years later, the talker is still talking about what they're going to do. The doer has already done it. And everyone's shocked because they never saw it coming. Let me paint this clearly. 2 people. Same goal, build something meaningful in 5 years. Person 1 tells everyone. They post about it. They explain their plan in detail. They update everyone on their progress. They seek feedback constantly. They get a lot of attention. A lot of, you got this? A lot of surface level support, but 5 years later, they're still in the planning phase. Still talking, still explaining, still seeking permission and validation for the next step. Person 2 tells no one. They have the same goal, the same timeline. But they keep it private. They work quietly. They execute daily. They make progress in darkness. No announcements. No updates. No seeking feedback from people who aren't qualified to give it. 5 years later, they're done. The thing is built. The goal is achieved. And when people finally see it, the only response is shock. When did you do this? I didn't know you were working on this. This is incredible. How long have you been building this? The loudest statement you can make is the one. You never say, that's not a metaphor, that's strategy. Your results speak louder than your announcements ever could. Your transformation speaks louder than your explanations. Your execution speaks louder than your intentions. The loudest statement you can make is the one you never say. Here's your new policy. Effective immediately. The no announcement policy. You don't announce goals. You achieve them, then people see the result. You don't announce changes. You change, then people notice the difference. You don't announce your 90-day fortress build. You build it in silence, then you show up unbreakable. No announcements. Just action. Just execution. Just results. This protects you in multiple ways. 1. You avoid the dopamine trap of getting praised for intention instead of achievement. 2. You protect your process from outside interference and doubt. 3. You build self-referential confidence because you're not seeking external validation. 4. When you finally do emerge with results, the impact is undeniable. The loudest statement you can make is the one you never say. You have a choice right now. You can keep explaining yourself, defending your choices, announcing your plans, and seeking approval for your direction, or you can go silent, execute, build, transform, and let the new version of you be the only announcement necessary. 1 keeps you dependent on their understanding. 1 makes you independent of their opinion. It's not about being secretive. It's about being focused. It's not about hiding. It's about building without interference. It's not about never sharing. It's about letting evidence replace words. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Start building a life so undeniable that explanations become irrelevant. Here's what this looks like practically. Someone asks why you're doing something differently. Just trying something new. That's the whole answer. No 20-minute justification. Someone questions your decision. I appreciate your perspective. Then you do what you were going to do anyway. Someone wants to know your plan. I'm working on some things. I'll share when there's something to share. Then you return to execution. Short, direct, final, no room for debate because you're not seeking their approval. The loudest statement you can make is the one you never say. You've stopped explaining. You've stopped announcing. You've committed to evidence over words. Now it's time to bring it all together. Everything you've learned, everything you've built, into one unbreakable daily protocol that will maintain your fortress for life. The Unbreakable Daily Protocol, your fortress maintenance manual. You now have everything you need, every principle, every strategy, every tool, every mindset shift, but none of it matters if you don't maintain it. This is your maintenance manual, your daily operating system. Your protocol for staying unbreakable, not just for 90 days, but for life. Because here's what you need to understand. The fortress is built one day at a time, maintained one day at a time, proven one day at a time, not in massive overhauls, not in weekend intensives, not in moments of peak motivation, one day at a time. Every single day, forever, the fortress is built one day at a time, maintained one day at a time, proven one day at a time. That's your reality now. And you need a system to support it. Here's your system. The 5-pillar daily check-in. Every single evening. Before your day ends, you assess these 5 pillars. Honest assessment. No lying to yourself. No grading on a curve. Pillar 1, physical discipline. Did you do the hard thing today? The cold shower. The workout. The physical challenge that made your body uncomfortable and your mind want to quit. Yes or no? That's the assessment. If yes, you've maintained pillar 1. If no, you know what tomorrow requires. This isn't about fitness. This is about proving to yourself daily that you can override comfort-seeking impulses. Physical. Discipline builds mental discipline. They're the same muscle. Pillar 2, emotional control. Did you stay neutral under pressure today? Did you pause instead of react? Did you maintain neutral face and neutral tone when triggered? Yes or no? Every day, pressure will come. Every day you'll be tested. The question isn't whether you'll be triggered. It's whether you'll control your response. If you stayed neutral, pillar 2 stands. If you reacted, you know what needs work tomorrow. Pillar 3, mental clarity. Did you protect your focus today? Did you give yourself silence? Did you guard your attention from the chaos, the notifications, the constant input? Yes or no? 10 minutes of silence minimum. Protection of your mental space. Intentional focus on what matters instead of reaction to what's urgent. If you protected your clarity, pillar 3 holds. If you let the chaos in, tomorrow you rebuild the walls. Pillar 4, private integrity. Did you keep promises to yourself today? Did you do what you said you'd do when you said you'd do it? Yes or no? This is the foundation of self-trust. This is where self-referential confidence comes from. Not from what others think, from whether you can trust your own word. If you kept your promises, pillar 4 stands strong. If you broke them, tomorrow you restore integrity. Pillar 5, strategic silence. Did you resist the urge to explain, complain, or seek validation today? Did you suffer in silence? Did you build without announcing? Yes or no? Every day you'll feel the urge to explain yourself, to complain about circumstances, to seek approval for your choices. Strength is resisting that urge. Weakness is indulging it. If you stayed silent and strategic, pillar 5 holds. If you explained, complained, or sought validation, tomorrow you return to silence. 5 pillars. Assess daily, honestly. The fortress is built one day at a time. Maintain one day at a time, proven one day at a time. This daily check-in keeps you honest, keeps you accountable to yourself, keeps the fortress maintained. That's the key. Now here's what you need to know. You will have bad days. Days where all 5 pillars fail. Days where you react emotionally, break promises to yourself, complain, seek validation, and avoid the hard thing. You will have those days. That's guaranteed. The difference between you and everyone else is what you do next. Here's your reset protocol. Step 1, acknowledge without shame. I had a bad day. I reacted. I broke. I slipped. State it clearly. No drama, no self-destruction. Just honest acknowledgement. You're not broken. You're human. And humans have bad days while building fortresses. Step 2. Identify the trigger. What caused the break? What pattern emerged? What do you need to watch for next time? Not to obsess. To learn. Data collection, remember? You can't fix what you won't face. Step 3. Recommit immediately. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait for the right time. Right now you recommit. Tomorrow I return to the protocol. Tomorrow I rebuild. Step 4. Return to day 1 principles. Go back to basics. The 5 non-negotiables. The 10-second pause. Observe, don't obsess. Notice, don't judge. Start again. Without shame. Without drama. Just execution. Let me show you the difference. Person 1 has a bad day, reacts poorly in a meeting, breaks their discipline, feels terrible about it, they spiral. I'm never going to change. I always do this. 90 days of work wasted. I'm broken. They quit. One bad day becomes permanent failure. Person 2 has the exact same bad day. Same reaction. Same break. Same feelings, but different response. They acknowledge it. I reacted poorly. That's not who I'm building myself to be. They identify the trigger. I was hungry and tired. I need to manage my state better. They recommit immediately. Tomorrow, I execute the protocol flawlessly. They return to basics the next morning. One bad day becomes one data point. One opportunity to learn. One chance to prove that resilience is real. Guess which one has an unbreakable fortress 5 years from now? Guess which one is still starting over every Monday? You have a choice. Every single time you fail, spiral and quit or reset and return, the fortress isn't built by people who never fall. It's built by people who stand back up immediately every single time they do. Now here's your final responsibility. Once your 90 days are complete, once your fortress is built and maintained, your responsibility shifts, you become a living example. Your life is the most powerful argument you'll ever make. Not your words. Not your advice. Not your explanations. Your life, the way you handle pressure. The way you stay calm when others panic. The way you maintain discipline when others make excuses. The way you suffer in silence and win in public. That's the argument. That's the message. That's the legacy. People are watching. They always are. And your quiet discipline becomes a silent challenge to everyone around you. They see you not reacting when provoked. They notice you staying neutral under pressure. They watch you maintaining consistency when they're making excuses, and something shifts in them. A question forms: if they can do it, why can't I? Your life is the most powerful argument you'll ever make. You don't need to preach. You don't need to convince. You just need to be the fortress, unshakable, undeniable, unbreakable, and your existence becomes proof that transformation is possible. That's the legacy. That's the responsibility. That's the final level of the fortress. You've built it. Now you maintain it. Now you live it. Now you become the proof. The fortress is built one day at a time, maintained one day at a time. Proven one day at a time. Your life is the most powerful argument you'll ever make. Make it unbreakable. 90 days. That's all it takes to go from emotionally fragile to mentally bulletproof. Not 90 days of motivation, 90 days of relentless, unglamorous, private discipline. You now have the complete system. You know the phases? You understand the cost of reacting, the power of silence, the strength built in darkness. You know that day 1 through 30 is brutal awareness. Day 31 through 60 is where you want to quit, but don't. Day 61 through 90 is where you become unbreakable. You know that validation seeking destroys fortresses. That complaining is weakness broadcast. That proving yourself with words is wasted energy. You know the daily protocol, the 5 pillars, the non-negotiables, the private integrity that compounds into public unshackability. Here's what happens next. You either close this video and stay exactly who you are, or you start today, right now, and build a mental fortress so strong that 3 months from now, you won't recognize the person you were when you pressed play. The system is in your hands. The next 90 days are going to pass whether you build or not. The only question left is this: will you still be breakable on day 91, or will you be the person nothing and no one can shake? Your fortress awaits. Start building.